So that is the meaning of the Buddhism, the Dharma, and so of course the discussion is how to integrate that uh, those teaching, those practice, the path into our everyday practice and everyday activities. So any like most spiritual path, Buddhism is a way of life. It's not like you know you go to the temple, pray, and then rest of the day you forget about it. It's not like that. Or every morning you do some prayers, some meditations for whatever time, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half hour, 1 hour. And then when you're out of your meditation cushions in the every your normal day, then that you don't have to practice anymore, you know, that you are disconnected from the meditation, the practice you did on the cushions, formal meditations, you know, that's not how it should be. It should be those practice, those meditation, those practice should be part of your life. You know, it should be a way of your life, way of your thinking. You know, such as the loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta mind, should be a way of your attitude, your thinking in our everyday life. You know, the view, that everything is dependent arisings, you know, should be your understanding, whether you are cushion or off the cushions, whatever you are doing throughout the day, we should remember, we should um, recollect that everything's dependent arisings. Everything's, all our experiences, pleasant, unpleasant, neutral experiences, whatever we experiences, they all come from many causes and conditions. They're all dependent arising. Nothing arises without any cause and conditions, other factors, you know. Everything that we see, hear, taste, touch, smell, everything that is in our thoughts, all of them are dependent arisings. They're all interconnected, interdependent. Being aware of that all the time, that view, not only just on the meditation cushion, but every time, whatever you do in every activities. You know. And with that, with the base on understanding of the view, um, then we try to contemplate and meditate that throughout the day, meditate and contemplate about that throughout the day. And through the view and with that kind of meditation, contemplations, then, that should reflect in our behavior, in our actions. Our behavior, our actions should be reflected by that understanding of dependent arisings and those meditation and contemplations. And therefore, our behavior should be more kind, more compassionate, more gentle, more caring, you know, more understanding, more patience. Whether we are by ourselves, whether we are interacting with others, whether we are whether we are with others or whether we are by ourselves, our actions, behavior, and should be kind of the conduct, should be more compassion and more kind conduct. A conduct, a behavior that is helpful, beneficial. Even if we can't be helpful and beneficial all the time, at least our conduct and behavior should be something that does not create more suffering and pain to others and oneself. Shouldn't be something that harms others and oneself. So that should be our conduct, the behavior. The conduct and behavior that come through the meditations that is based on understanding of the right view. So in a way, whole integrating all the Buddhism in our everyday life, meaning integrating all those three, the view, the meditation, the conduct, and so that should be the and that should be the guiding kind of principle way of our life. That should be those stays should be the guiding principle for our way of living, our way of life, in our everyday life. So therefore, I think today's topic of discussions, I think can be interesting and helpful, beneficial, maybe, hopefully, because sometimes when you think of Dharma or Buddhism, Dharma, we think of meditations. Okay. Thoughts. When you think of Buddhism, what comes into your mind is meditations. And when you think of meditations, what comes in the thought is being on the cushions, closing your eyes, sitting straight, leg crossed, and whether you are, whatever kind of meditation you might be doing, but that is the image that we have, and that's what we think, We do not think the Buddhism is, or the Dharma is way of life, That means that we have to integrate that every part, every part, every moment of our life. That should be the principle, guiding force for our way of life, So, so in discussing that, I think I wanted to kind of touch on a few different things. First of all, I like to start with in many of the mind training or lojongs, there is one particular practice within those mind training and lojongs. Lojong is Tibetan word for mind training. Lo means mind, and jong is training. Training the mind. In those training the mind, sometimes there's kind of they explain from the point of view of 7 point of mind training from 7 point of views, and in one of those points, that's the fourth point is how to integrate the mind training, the lojong, within our life, our everyday life. So I think I'm going to kind of start with that, starting from that today, and maybe tomorrow, day after tomorrow, we will talk more from some others how to establish um, kind of daily practice, and how to integrate um, our different activities in our life every day, how to bring the Dharma in each of those different activities, and thereby make those whatever activities we engage in every day, how can we transform and make them more spiritual than just a worldly? How can we make that we do every day, 24 hours, whatever we do, how can we make them more Dharma, more spiritual, instead of just being just ordinary and worldly, so because it can be, vacuuming your room, cleaning your room or house, can be just an ordinary task, worldly task, ordinary task, or it can become a very spiritual task. And thereby it can become a spiritual task, therefore it can become a meditation itself. And so therefore, so how can we transform those worldly ordinary tasks that we engage every day? We have to do them, but how can we make those more virtuous? How can we make them, transform them into virtues? How can we transform them into a path? How can we transform into the, Dharma and spiritual? So I think we'll discuss more that by following in particular, some of the from some of the sutras, where the Buddha gave certain advice, teachings, instructions, how to transform them. So I think that will be more kind of more or less what I'm going to have kind of been discussing during this weekend. Okay, and as I mentioned today, with the integrating the lojong into the path. So in that, in lojong, how to transform our, our everyday life into the path from the point of view of 5 forces or 5 powers, so in that first, the power or the force of motivations, so that is integrating or cultivating right intention motivations in our everyday life, and trying to renew and refresh that motivation every day, starting with the morning, and the motivations, we try to cultivate that motivations to be benefit to all sentient beings, and we generate motivation to be benefit to all sentient beings, directly, indirectly, in whatever way we can. until we achieve enlightenment, especially this life, whole this life, this year, this month, this week, especially this 24-hour, I will try all my best to be help and benefit to others directly, indirectly, as much as I can. At least I will not engage in anything, any actions, anything that can be harmful, hurtful, that could bring more pain, suffering to other sentient beings. Setting up that kind of strong motivations help us throughout the day so that we become more helpful, beneficial, at least not become harmful to others. Especially if we are, especially, of course, we do that in general, and especially if we are going through certain, stronger emotions that is disturbing, that is, not helpful, then we can even more strong. Someone who has, problem with anger, resentment, grudges during that day, during that week, that month, or someone who might be going through another emotions, fear, worry, anxiety, or someone who might be going through a different emotion at that time, it can be jealousy, it can be strong desire, attachments, whatever different emotion that we might be going through that time, making strong motivations, determination as motivations, I will try all my best not to allow myself to be consumed by that negative emotions, So again, we generate that intention motivations, I will not allow myself, I will be very, I will put more effort, I will put throughout the day, week, months, and years in life, much effort through mindfulness, introspection, and other practices, and that I will not allow myself to be consumed by that strong negative emotions, that is hurting and harming myself and others. So, if it's anger, I will not allow myself to be consumed by that anger. If it's a fear, I will not allow that fear to consume my day, my weeks, months, and my life. So making that strong motivations is very helpful to remind ourselves and kind of setting the day in the right way, setting the day with the right directions in the right way. So, and especially, that I will try to cultivate and maintain and increase, loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta mind, the practice of the method, and the wisdom relies on the ultimate truth. In other ways, in other words, I will try all my best with my body, speech, and mind to cultivate the true bodhicitta mind, the ultimate bodhicitta mind and relative bodhicitta mind, and not only cultivate, to maintain them, not only maintain them, trying to increase and improve better and better, until I achieve enlightenment throughout all the future lives on the path, while on the path, I will try my best to cultivate them while in the purple. As long as I live in this life, I will try my best to cultivate them, to practice them, especially this year, this month, this week. At least I will try very hard throughout these 24 hours. So generating and cultivating that kind of intention, motivation, very, very helpful. It's like, when it's cold, you make a big fire in the morning and that could keep warm throughout the day. You don't have to make fire every hour. You just make a nice, good fire in the morning and that will keep the house warm for the day, at least until the noon. Maybe you make one more fire in the noon and then that will keep until the evenings, until you go to the bed. And that is how the motivation is, that making that fire that keep warm throughout the day. Your mind is able to follow that motivation, whatever motivation you have cultivated. So it really has a strong influence and effect, your state of mind throughout the day. Just like, if I start morning with the anger, that will influence throughout my day. It will influence my day. I will be very moody, and easily triggered to be angry and agitated very easily by small things. And because from that morning when I start with that kind of moody, with that kind of being in a moody state and kind of, agitation mind, angry mind. So that is our experience, that's our experience. How you start the day has a strong impact throughout the day. If you start with the day, today I'm going to have a, argument, conflict at the workplaces. That's what is going to happen. And if you make a motivation, intentions that I'm going to make peace, I'm going to be helpful, beneficial. I'm not going to be, angry persons. And so that you make that kind of strong motivation, determination, and when you go to your work or any other, when you need to get in together with others, and that motivation, intention can help you to be more calm, more peaceful, more kind, more beneficial throughout the day. So, so it's very, very important to set up that kind of intention, motivations. And so that is the power or forces of the motivations that can have a strong, of course, from Buddhist point of view, it has strong, it by the power of that bodhicitta motivations, everything you do throughout the day, it becomes more meaningful, more beneficial, more virtuous. They become cause to enlightenment. But even so, even those are kind of long-term long-term goal and effect. But immediately you can see how it influences our feelings, our state of mind throughout the day. So that is the first motivations. And the power of familiarity, the power of familiarity, the force or power of familiarity, and that is, throughout the day, whatever you do, trying to practice, true bodhicitta mind as much as possible. The relative bodhicitta and ultimate bodhicitta mind. The relative bodhicitta mind is, out of strong, loving kindness and great compassion to be benefit and to help to all sentient beings. The wish to achieve your highest potential, fully awakened state. That is the relative bodhicitta mind. The wish to become your best. The wish to achieve your highest potential, and the purpose to become your best and to achieve your highest potential and fully awaken is to be greatest help and benefit to other sentient beings and yourself, driven by that great compassion to do something, to help, to be benefit, that is a relative bodhicitta mind. And the wisdom that relies the ultimate nature of yourself, your mind, and all phenomena, that is being supported by that relative bodhicitta mind is a ultimate bodhicitta mind. So in other words, the wisdom that relies the right view. As I mentioned before, the right view is that everything is interconnected, interrelated, interdependent. Everything is dependent arisings. Nothing exists independently by itself without depending on other factors, without depending on other conditions, other factors. Nothing can exist independently, isolated by itself. Everything is able to exist and functions independent on many other factors. Therefore, because everything is dependent on many other factors and conditions, therefore everything is dependent arising. That is the ultimate reality of everything. That is the ultimate truth of everything. And realizing, understanding that, the mind that relies and understands that is the wisdom relies on the ultimate truth. And that understand directly that ultimate truth, and that even supported by the relative bodhicitta mind is the ultimate bodhicitta mind. So that is the true bodhicitta mind, conventional ultimate bodhicitta mind. So throughout the day, we try to engage in the practice, contemplations, reflections, meditation on the true bodhicitta mind, as much as possible. To meditate on them, to reflect, contemplate, and to practice. You don't have to be in your meditation, room or your meditation cushions, or you don't have to sit down quietly. You can do those practice meditation anytime, anywhere, in any positions. You can do that while you are eating. You can do that while you are trying to lie down, resting. You can do that while you are walking. You can do that while you are cooking. We can do that while you are washing, cleaning, So we can practice that throughout the day. Throughout the day, whatever you are doing, while you are watching a TV, you can still practice, meditate on those two bodhicitta mind, while you are watching, you can think, how everything's interdependent, interrelated, you are able to watch, able to hear the news or whatever entertainments. It doesn't come by itself. There are so many people who put together, so many people who try to, gather the informations. They pass to someone else. Then the anchor, the news anchor, then sharing the news. In order to share the news through this medium of TV or other form of mediums, those all are created by so many other peoples. So all these come by we are able to hear the news, we are able to listen to the news, or we are able to enjoy the entertainments, whatever form of entertainment that you are watching, all of that comes because of so many causes and conditions, so many factors coming together. So because of the dependent arisings. So if we understand that, if we have that realization, that understanding, whatever we are enjoying, entertainment, news, whatever, we appreciate and feel contribution of so many beings there for us to enjoy and get the whatever information we get or whatever entertainment that we are enjoying. It's not just one person's, it's not just one act, but so many beings contributions, so many beings involvements, and they all are contributing for our enjoyment, our entertainments, for our knowledge, to improve our understanding and knowledge, all of that. So then it helps us to appreciate, think grateful, thankful for so many beings that allow us to feel sense of kindness of them, and that help us to feel that give us space to feel compassion for them and loving kindness and bodhicitta towards them. So we can think that so we can apply the meditation on the right view at that very moment. You can apply that. Also, you can apply loving kindness, compassion, especially when we hear news, there are so many, people who are suffering, from many different, some people who are not feeling well, sick, some people who are losing their life, experiencing the death, so many people who have lost their dear ones, so many people, either themselves or their dear near ones, having so many obstacles, so many challenges in their life. So when you hear the news, it's all about them, it's so much suffering that's going around the world. Understanding their pain, understanding their suffering, pain, and feeling their pain and sufferings, and cultivating strong compassion, strong wish. I wish I will help them to free of their suffering and the cause of their suffering. I wish I can lead them to happiness and cause of happiness. May I be able to, free them from their suffering and cause of suffering. May I be able to lead them to happiness and cause of happiness. I myself is going to try as much as myself, directly, indirectly, to reduce and relieve of their suffering, cause of suffering, and lead them to happiness, the cause of happiness. So through that, and training your mind to feel more compassion, to feel more loving kindness towards, by understanding and feeling their pain and sufferings. And in order to really help them to free their suffering and cause of completely, permanently, and to lead them to happiness, cause of completely, I need to become myself better. I need to become myself more enlightened. I need to be more compassionate. I need to have more wisdom. I need to have more skillful means to help. And therefore, I must, actualize my highest potential, the fully awakened state. So again, through that, then again, inspiring yourself to cultivate that bodhicitta mind. And so through that, again, while you are watching TV, you can apply and use that to cultivate bodhicitta mind, loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta mind. So you can apply that in that every moment. So if someone comes, or they think, oh, you are just having you are just entertaining yourself with that entertainment news or whatever form of entertainment, seems like very ordinary, worldly. But while you are watching that, you are actually also using that to your spiritual practice. You are meditating, you are contemplating. Sometimes it's even better because, when you are in your meditation rooms, and silently, quietly, cross-legged, you are meditating, and people think, oh, you are a great meditator, great practitioners. That might help you. That might increase your egoistic mind even more. But while you are watching these entertainments, people think, oh, you are just you are not really practicing. But you are actually practicing. So they don't say that, they don't think that. So they don't say, then there's no, your egoistic mind doesn't get any kind of, fuel to feel it. So, and that is why integrating. And also we can integrate so much different practices and a time, while you are watching the TV, news, or any form of entertainment, while you are watching it, at the same time, be very mindful and aware, watching your thoughts, your feelings. That can arise while you are watching it. If you are watching a news, maybe sometime, anger could arise because it's a disturbing news. Because it's a disturbing news, then it disturbs your mind. And just watch how your mind is disturbed now, how your mind is agitated, and how your mind is angry and upset by hearing that news. Or, sometime maybe by watching that news, maybe it might have a, positive feelings, good feelings. Sometime maybe compassion might arise, sense of concern for others could arise, the wish to do something, the wish to do something, the wish to contribute something could arise. So, different emotion could arise, good, bad, neutral, different feeling, different emotions, could arise at that time. And just simply, mindfully being watchful and mindful, just watching them. As Lama Yeshe used to say, watching your mind is more entertaining than the dramas on the televisions, all the drama, family dramas, very entertaining, of different relationship and up and downs, all kind is entertaining. That's why we are engrossed in watching those shows, as Lama Yeshe say, watching your mind might be even more interesting than that, because again, our mind is just, up and downs, So again, yeah, watching them, being aware of them, but not entertaining them. Just learning, just training and learning to be mindful and aware, but without kind of entertaining those thoughts, those feelings, those emotions. Is another method of dealing with those emotions. If you don't entertain those thoughts, feeling, emotions, then those thoughts, feeling, emotions will arise and it will disappear in a moment. So it doesn't affect you so badly if even negative emotion arises, because it doesn't last. It just, it just arises and it's gone. The problem with us is then, we entertain those thoughts. Then we with those, by entertaining those thoughts, those feeling, emotions, then we give fuel to those feeling to, to last long. And the more you entertain those thoughts, the more fuel you give, the more it will last. And that the more harm it does to yourself. But if we just learn to not to entertain, not to give fuel, but just being training yourself to just being aware and mindful and aware, then it's just like one spark. Spark comes and goes. With us, what happened at the mouth is there is spark, and then you add the kerosene on that, then the fires. Then we experience the effect of the fire. But if you don't give that fuel, then the spark comes and goes. It doesn't affect so badly. And so again, and you can apply that again, and I guess it is good because I think a lot of time, we spend a lot of time on those, on those things, So if someone says you have to give up watching news, give up watching your entertainments, it will feel like very bad, you are derived of all your entertainments, all your enjoyment, isn't it? It feel like, So without deriving yourself or those entertainment, enjoyment, without taking away, you can still make it meaningful and virtuous and practice if we apply any of those different practices that I mentioned, and many other practices that you can apply, but those are some example of how you can apply the wisdom, the method, compassion, bodhicitta, or mindfulness. So those are different practices that one can apply, and especially those who are inspired for the bodhisattva's path and those who are inspired for enlightenment, then definitely, focusing on the two bodhicitta mind would be very helpful, because by making our, the main practice, the primary practice, the two bodhicitta mind, making the two bodhicitta mind as the very heart of our practice, very soul of our practice, because that is the key. That is the key. because cultivating those two bodhicitta mind, is the key to our own well-being, and it is key to and source of well-being of others. Mm. It is cause of our inner peace, inner joy, happiness of this life, in all future life, while we're on the path in samsara, as well as is the cause of ultimate happiness of fully enlightened state. Those two bodhicitta minds. So, so that is why that should be the primary, because we all pursue the happiness. We all want to be happy. We all want to be happy. And there's nothing more powerful cause to be happy than cultivating those bodhicitta mind. There's no powerful cause to find inner peace and inner joy and happiness in this life as well as all future life, and until we achieve enlightenment. So that is, therefore, we should try to keep those two as the main practice, and familiarize with that practice by engaging in practice throughout the day, Also, the main cause, the primary cause of our problem and suffering and pain is our own selfish attitude and ignorance. The main cause of our problem, suffering, and pain is our own afflictive emotions, such as strong desire, jealousy, pride, greediness, anger, hatred, impatience, those afflictive emotions. And those afflictive emotions or destructive emotions are very much rooted into ignorance and selfish attitude. So the selfish attitude and ignorance is the very root of all our suffering and problems. And the solution to that is, the solution to our problems and the suffering and pain, because the problem arises from within our mind, the solution also should be found within our mind or from within our mind. If the problem is coming from outside, then of course the solution has to be deal with the outside. But all this problem, the primary cause, the primary root of all this problem is coming from within. The external conditions only play a very small role as a supportive and contributing cooperative cause and conditions, but the primary cause and conditions is coming from within. And to deal with that, then it has to come, and therefore we need to cultivate, the antidotes towards those afflictive emotions. The inner positive qualities that can act as a remedy, as a solutions, as an antidote towards those different afflictive emotions. Not only that, we have to find a remedy and the solutions and antidote towards the very root of those afflictive emotions, that is selfish attitude and ignorance. And in order to eliminate and destroy those two roots, then we need to cultivate the two bodhicitta mind. The relative bodhicitta mind will be the remedy and antidote to destroy the selfish attitude. And the ultimate bodhicitta, the wisdom relies on the ultimate reality or truth, will act as an antidote and remedy to overcome the ignorance. And so therefore, again, that is why the two bodhicitta mind play a crucial role in solving our problem in suffering. And so therefore, again, that is why we should try to make those two bodhicitta mind as a primary practice. Main practice, the principal practice, the heart of our practice. And also, for those who are aspiring to be on bodhisattva path to achieve enlightenment, the most quickest way, the most easy way to achieve enlightenment is cultivating two bodhicitta mind. Once, the great Indian master, Adisha Dibamkara, around 10 centuries, 10, 11 centuries, he was one of the main masters. He was the main master who kind of revived Buddhism in Tibet after it was declined. Buddhism first came in Tibet around 7, 8 centuries. Then after some time it declined, and get polluted, corrupted. And then, Adisha Dibamkara was most well-known teacher, Buddhist master teacher at that time in India. They invited him to kind of revive the Buddhism to its purity, and he was great master from Nalanda University, most well-known, who's produced one of the greatest, scholars, philosophers, masters, teachers, as well as he was a great master at another, Bikram Shila, another great university learning. And so anyway, once he asked, his personal deity, Tara, what is the most quickest and easy way to achieve enlightenment? And the answer that he received was cultivate the bodhicitta mind. Cultivate the bodhicitta mind. The bodhicitta is the quickest and easiest ways to achieve enlightenment. Is anyone interested in the quickest and easiest way? Maybe you are not interested. Wait, according to the Adisha Dibamkara and all of that, that is the quickest and easiest way to achieve enlightenment. And the reasons, there's a reasons, in order to achieve enlightenment, you have to create, collections of the merit and wisdom. The more quicker you are able to collect the collections, able to gather the collections of merit and wisdom, the quicker you are able to achieve, the faster you are able to achieve, the easier you will be able to achieve. And there's no more powerful way to create. There's no There's no more better way, or is the most powerful way to create the collection of merit and the wisdom is by cultivating true bodhicitta mind. By cultivating true bodhicitta mind. By cultivating the relative bodhicitta mind, then we are able to gather huge amount of the collection of merit or virtues or positive karma each moment, each second. By cultivating the ultimate bodhicitta, each moment, each second, we are able to gather the collection of the wisdom. And by having collecting those two, gather two collection, each moment is so much amount, and you are able to achieve enlightenment much more quickly. You know, as one of the another great Indian masters, Shantideva said, if we have a positive thoughts, and feeling, for example, someone is sick, he's having a fever or headache, and if you have this wonderful thoughts, really compassionate thought, wishing that person to be free from that headache or fever. Isn't that a positive thought? Isn't that a compassionate thought? Compassionate feelings? By cultivating that compassionate thought, compassionate feeling, you automatically, by product, you create a lot of merit, virtues, positive karma. If you feel that compassionate thought for 10 people, you create 10 more time. If you have that compassionate feeling for 100 people, it's 100 more time, bigger. Thousands, 100,000, millions. And if you have that thought for all sentient beings, you create that equal of that much of in one moment, equal of that amount of, by having that compassionate thought to countless sentient beings, you create equal number of virtues, merit, positive thoughts, and positive karma. And so when you cultivate bodhicitta mind, not only you wish that person to be free from the fever or headache, but you are having compassionate thought, wish to free them from all the sufferings, not just one suffering, all the sufferings, and the cause of all the sufferings. Not only of just one being, of all sentient beings. So that is how you create so much incredible amount of virtues and merit in one moment of that bodhicitta mind. Not only you wish them to be, have a, free, good health, free from the fever or that, but you wish them to have all kind of happiness, and not only happiness, the ultimate happiness, and cause of all had to be ultimate happiness. And again, because of that, you have incredible, you create incredible amount of virtues and merit each moment. And therefore, because you are able to create so much amount of merit and virtues each second, each moment, the moment you cultivate bodhicitta mind in one moment, you create so much, then that's why it becomes cause to quick enlightenment, fast enlightenment. Also, in order to achieve enlightenment, not only you need to gather all the conducive conditions, such as the virtues, merit, positive karma, you also need to clear and purify all the obstacles, the negative, all the obstacle interferences. And those are, our own karma, negative karma, our own delusions, our own obscurations. And the most powerful way to purify those negative karma and delusion, obscurations, is by cultivating the two bodhicitta mind. There's no powerful tools to purify and to cleanse all these obstacles than by cultivating two bodhicitta mind. And so when you are able to cleanse and purify all the obstacles, in one moment, so strong of that, and able to gather all the conducive conditions, then definitely, then enlightenment is not too far away. Enlightenment comes fast, quick, and easy. The problem with us is because we don't have that two bodhicitta mind, we are unable to cultivate that bodhicitta. That is why enlightenment seems very far away at the moment, and not easy but difficult, and very long distant, and almost feel like it's not possible for us, and because again, not having that two bodhicitta. But once you have cultivated two bodhicitta mind, then one will not feel that way, and enlightenment become and therefore all the Katamba masters, those who, all the masters who follow the Atisha and all his disciples, they say, if you want to purify, practice the bodhicitta mind. If you want to accumulate the virtues and the merit, practice the bodhicitta mind. So bodhicitta is the key to all of them. Is the key to all of them. And that being so then, we have to, that's why throughout the day, we try to practice, meditate as much as possible to bodhicitta mind, and make those two bodhicitta mind as the main practice in our everyday life, and in our life, in our everyday and our life. Also in terms of our, ordinary, worldly things, we all want to have a, good, healthy life. We all want to have a prosperity. We all want to have harmony in our life. We all want to have happiness. If you want to have good, healthy life, prosperity, harmonious, and happy life, it's not just enough just to wish to have those things. You have to create the cause and conditions. You have to create the cause and conditions. And you have to clear the obstacles to have those, healthy life, prosperity, and harmony and happiness. And that means, we have to purify all those negative karma that are the obstacle to have that. And we have to create, positive karma that are the main cause, condition to have such life. And then again, in terms of creating positive karma, there's nothing more powerful than cultivating the bodhicitta mind. The bodhicitta mind, two bodhicitta mind, is the most powerful way to create so much of positive karma and virtues in a second, in a moment. And as they are also the most powerful way to purify all the negative karma, cleanse all the negative karma in a moment. And when you do that, then of course you will have more healthy, more success, more prosperity, more harmony, more happiness in your life. So again, the two bodhicitta are key for that too. So I think that is all. I think the point was the practice of familiarity with the two bodhicitta mind, by engaging them, training in them throughout the day whenever we get opportunity, whatever we are doing. You don't have to find the cushions to do that practice, meditation, contemplations. You know, you can try to do that practice, meditation, contemplation, anywhere, anytime, at whatever you are doing. And so, okay, so any questions, comments before we still have maybe 5 minutes? Does anyone has any questions, comments? If there is, we have time. If not, we do the dedications.
Just to thank you, Geshe La. Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure, Doc. So then, yeah, we do the dedications again. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of Guru Buddha and lead all living beings without exception into that enlightened state. May the supreme jewel Bodhicitta that has not arisen, arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish but increase more and more. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much. And again, you know, probably you can start applying that from now on. Before you go to bed, maybe if you are going to have some, if you are going to have watch something, do something, read something, or you have other things to do, try to generate that motivation of bodhicitta while you are doing that. Try to apply that. So that is the homework. Now we have to integrate and apply now. We have heard a lot and we have discussed. Now is the time to integrate, apply and integrate. And so at least we can do that while it's still fresh.
Right.
Okay. Thank you everyone.
Okay, everyone, we'll be back at
Thank
10
you,
a.m.
Geshe-la.
tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Geshe-la.
Thank you, Anthony. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for hosting, Anthony.
Thank you, Anthony.